Our cover story tonight comes from Bishkek, the capital of Kyrgyzstan, Prime Minister Narendra Modi's first multilateral summit after re-election, the Shanghai Cooperation Organization, or the SCO summit. It kicks off tomorrow, but there's a lot happening on the sidelines today. Prime Minister Modi's visit started making news even before he took off. He decided to take a longer route to Bishkek. He did not fly over Pakistan. Instead, he flew over Oman, Iran and Central Asian countries to reach the Kyrgyz capital. The summit begins tomorrow, but the Prime Minister is meeting leaders from other SCO countries today. He held bilateral talks with Chinese President Xi Jinping and Russian President Vladimir Putin. He also is scheduled to hold talks with Afghanistan's President Ashraf Ghani today. These bilaterals give a chance to Mr. Modi to resume dialogue with his counterparts at the SCO. The summit will be keenly watched for any interaction between Prime Minister Modi and Pakistan's Prime Minister Imran Khan. India has made it clear that there are no plans to hold talks with Pakistan, but this will be the first time that both leaders come face-to-face after the Pulwama attack. India has already made its stand on Pakistan clear to China. There was a brief discussion between Prime Minister Modi and President Xi Jinping on the matter.
Prime Minister, in fact, said that we have a consistent position with respect to Pakistan. We discuss all issues through a bilateral mechanism and we look for peaceful settlement through negotiation. We are committed to this process. The Prime Minister recalled that he has made efforts in this regard and these efforts have been derailed. The Prime Minister did inform President Xi Jinping that Pakistan needs to create an atmosphere free of terrorism, and that at this stage we did not see this as happening as yet, and that therefore we expect Pakistan to take concrete action on the issues that India has proposed, in the areas of concern that we have flagged to Pakistan, that Pakistan should take concrete action in this regard.
So beyond Pakistan, what is on India's agenda at the SCO? A lot. India's objectives at the SCO are wide-ranging. While they are primarily focused on outreach to Central Asia, their implications are global in nature. Let's look at India's agenda items. A strong push to combat terrorism, boosting regional connectivity, improving regional security and exploring regional energy cooperation. This may sound bureaucratic, but all of this impacts our lives. We'll discuss all of it in detail in just a bit. Let's first bring you this ground report.
In Bishkek, central Bishkek, and if my camera person can show you, the city is all decked up, security is tight in the city, and the roads are nearly empty because of the big summit which is happening in the country. Also, the Prime Minister will have number of pull-aside meetings. He will have 3 pull-aside meetings with Kazakhstan, Belarus and Mongolia, but with Pakistani Prime Minister, there is no confirmation. We know that MEA has ruled out any formal meeting, but a pull-aside is something that will be keeping many people on tenterhooks. With video journalist Kapil Siddhant Sudbal for WION in Bishkek, Kyrgyzstan.
Earlier we told you about bilateral meetings, Prime Minister Modi's bilateral engagements. Let's start with China. The first meeting of the day. India and China held delegation-level talks. It began with the Prime Minister thanking Chinese President Xi Jinping for his message after the general election results. Both leaders discussed all aspects of the bilateral relationship. Prime Minister Modi noted the progress they've made. They discussed ways to strengthen ties.
The two leaders agreed that while the outcome of Wuhan was a very positive one, it was necessary now to move the relationship forward into new areas. And therefore, the Prime Minister specifically conveyed to President Xi, and he agreed, that both sides need to raise our expectations from the relationship. And in that context, the Prime Minister welcomed President Xi Jinping to India for the next informal summit, the second informal summit after Wuhan. He said that both sides must prepare very thoroughly for this summit, that the outcome of the summit must meet the expectations of both sides. And President Xi Jinping very warmly confirmed his readiness to visit India this year. He said he looked forward to discussing all issues from a strategic and long-term perspective, and that both sides should now begin intensive preparations for the visit.
The Chinese president has accepted Prime Minister Modi's invitation to visit India later this year. This time, India will host an informal summit between the two leaders. Later on Twitter, Prime Minister Modi said that he had an extremely fruitful meeting with Xi Jinping. He also wished the Chinese president a happy birthday. Xi Jinping will turn 66 on the 15th of June, that's Saturday. China was approaching this bilateral meeting with high hopes. Before the talks, Beijing had hinted that President Xi will raise the need to forge a united front against America. We are talking about the ongoing trade war, of course. The Chinese president is expected to raise the issue of trade protectionism during the course of the summit. As far as India is concerned, it would like to make some more progress. The two leaders have met more than 10 times in the last 5 years.